How has playing video games affected your life for the better? Honestly, it helped with my anger as a kid. Learning how to handle the anger of not being able to beat a boss/level or solve a puzzle gave me the skills growing up to do that in real life. As a League player, I completely removed ego from myself. Constant kill stealing teammates, no worries bro. I'm in a zen-like state of detachment. I learned English from playing video games. Years later, now, I just got a new job where one of the requirements is speaking English. Would never get it if I didn't play video games in the past. Hell yeah. Playing the original The Sims when it first came out, I was soon frustrated at the limited items of furniture available. When The Sims Transmogrifier was released, enabling people to make their own items to use in the game, I bought myself the latest version of Photoshop 5. Did the tutorial. Opened my own fan site so others could also use the stuff I made. From that, I learned web design, and not just Photoshop, but other Adobe software, and was able to add graphic and web design to my self-employed portfolio, gaining many more clients along the way. Man, I loved The Sims 2 growing up. My brother and I used to play it so much, got started with Double Deluxe and worked our way to all of the expansion packs except hobbies. Could literally never find it, and when we did we didn't have money. That was a long time ago, and now that he moved out I'll play Sims 4 on the PS4 and remember the good old times. We used to both have a character we would play on and compete to see who could have the most money and the biggest house and kids going to college and owning a business. It was awesome, and he was a lot better, but I really loved playing it. Sims 2 is still one of my favorite games, but not having a PC to play on is a drag. Still have all the games somewhere. I was a lonely kid growing up who didn't have many friends, and those I did have I would lose touch with. Got bullied a lot from kinder all the way up to high school/college. Abusive father, legit got cops involved a few times. A lot of stuff went wrong that was outside of my control at the time. Still sometimes does. Video games gave and still give me an out to that reality. Like, if ever some real bad stuff was going on, I could just turn one on and either feel wanted, needed, and generally like I mattered, or have an outlet to empty out a lot of rage into some unlucky NPCs. If I didn't have them, specifically when I was a lot younger and didn't know how to handle a lot of that stuff in any other way, I honestly might not be here. And I'm sure the same goes for some others out there as well. Playing AoE as a kid was what got me first interested in history. It's still one of my major interests, and I just love learning about all kinds of stuff from the past all the time. Oh, and playing Fallout introduced me to all this kick-ass 50s music. Say what you will about the newer games, but Uranium Fever is and will always be my jam. You can learn a lot of history from video games, as long as you know it's tweaked for practical and entertainment reasons, that is. Assassin's Creed 2 was like a virtual tour you could kill people in. Assassin's Creed Black Flag made me Google a lot of the characters and read about them. The game itself is a stuff of fantasy, but the real people they based the characters on were super interesting. I'm a better problem solver. This should be higher up. The amount of creative thinking you have to do to play games effectively, whether you notice it or not, is severely underrated. And this is something that isn't really encouraged or taught formally growing up, at least in most of the US. Whenever I'm at work or with friends and there is some activity, riddle, or just a random problem, myself and other people who play games are the ones actively pursuing reasonable solutions. Non-gamers just get confused and say I don't know what to do. What could we do? I dunno. Try something. Literally anything. Cosmic Spacehead. It took me a week to figure out I was supposed to give a balloon to a scary monster. He would then float off to allow me to put icing sugar in the pond so I could get to the next screen. Adventure games taught me to think around corners. Met wonderful people that I love to play with and talk to. They are a part of why I can be happy. I meet a lot of cool people through video games and rarely meet bad people. On Reddit, I meet a lot of assholes and a few nice people. Hey, there are a lot more nice people than you think. Fuckhead. Turns out that math is a lot more digestible when you have an activity to apply it to and see its effects in real time. Y'all are getting into some crazy math games, and I'm just talking about how gratifying it is to bonk a pickled T-Rex on the head with a giant hammer. Especially in Minecraft. You can effectively find the gate to the final boss using coordinates and stuffs, which I don't really get. There's a lot more than just that in Minecraft. Sure, you can use triangulation to find sanctuaries with only 2 eyes, but you can also learn digital electronics with redstone and programming through modding. It's good escapism if you have a lot of time to kill, like right now. For example, getting lost in Skyrim for hours on end is a good way to pass the time and not worry about anything for a while. I sank my whole freshman year of high school into Skyrim. Probably put in 800 plus hours into it over the last 8 years. I loved it and got me through some hard times while fostering my love of open world RPGs. I was 27 when Skyrim came out. I booked an entire week off work to sit and play it. It was amazing. Up, shower, clean PJs, set up snacks for the day, and then just go wandering around Skyrim all day. I'd been an Oblivion junkie before. Man, I want an Elder Scrolls 6. I'm not panicking right now about having to stay home BC of Corona. Honesty though. For some people it's a curse, but to a few of us it's a blessing. God yes. I've been saying this to my friends, who are looking at me like I'm crazy. Shut it all down, I'll chill at home and game hard AF for a few weeks. Well, for one, playing RuneScape in my early teens taught me how to type quickly. I still remember the time my dad installed one of those typing practice programs on his computer and proudly told me that he'd learned to touch type at a brisk 42 WPM. Then recommended that I install it too because learning how to type quickly is useful and you might need it in the workforce one day. He was awfully surprised when I fired up the program and immediately started typing at 110 WPM, no problem at all. Just from my time spent advertising the items I wanted to buy and sell in RuneScape. I'm with you there. You have to learn to type quickly. Otherwise you never had the chance to shit talk the other kid that was just about to granite mall spec your sorry ass in the wilderness. True, though I never really cared much. I was thinking more along the lines of Flash 2 Wave, selling Nats 300 EA, buying Lobbers 200 EA, flummy lummy. Sometimes for hours on end. I've learned that giant alien spiders are no joke. So you're saying that Australia is a video game to you? Not op. But would you be really shocked if it was one day discovered that Australia used to be a test bed for biological warfare for an extraterrestrial civilization? Gave me a hobby and something to keep my mind from sinking into an endless pit of anxiety and depression. I can talk with friends while doing things we all like to do. Also, gives me stuff to brag about. And it's a relatively cheap hobby. I know games and consoles can be expensive, but it's not like it's a money pit like other hobbies are. The setup is expensive. The rest is dirt cheap. It's almost entirely upfront costs, since you're paying for your internet connection anyway, because this is the 21st century. Hell, even subscription-based games require significantly less per month than most other hobbies out there. I spent my 19th birthday in the cancer ward sleeping on a rock hard couch, watching over my sick twin sister, because my mom told me that the painkiller she was on could send her into a coma. I was at my lowest point. I had dropped out of school to watch over her. I had no job. I had no money. I had undiagnosed anxiety at its highest point. And my sister was due for a surgery that had a 50/50 shot of spreading cancer from the basketball-sized ovarian cyst into her entire body. I had such a bad panic attack in that hospital waiting room that my best friend had to tackle me to prevent me from trying to break open the windows because I couldn't breathe. I was working off a vending machine cheese ITZ, Mountain Dew, and the clothes on my back. Oh, and my thirds. I had always wanted one since I was little. And I was obsessed with Pokemon. But my parents wouldn't let me have one. Well, at 18 years old my sister, with her first holiday paycheck, got me a special Northeast edition thirds with Ruby and Animal Crossing New Leaf. I was beyond stoked. It was the best gift I'd ever gotten. It's how I survived. We were on the 32nd floor and the huge window was picturesque to the city below, especially at night. When Carol was sleeping at 3 AM while we were waiting for her next test, I was upgrading my house and filling up the aquarium with all the fish I could catch. I was vibing with the cafe guy in KK and landscaping my town to the night sounds. When she was in surgery, I was trying to shinny hunt her favorite Pokemon in a manic attempt to convince myself that it mattered in some small way compared to the chaos around me. She's cancer free and lost an ovary. We both pre-ordered the new Animal Crossing game to play together, and we both play Pokemon SWSH. My anxiety got worse, and then it got better when I went on meds for it. I got a job. I'm going back to school. Video games powered me through some of my worst nights, some of my most terrified and helpless moments, because they provided an escape that allowed me to feel like, just for a while, that I was in control. That this was a safe space where I had the power to become whatever I wanted and could save everyone. Or maybe just catch a fuck ton of sea bass and still never complete a successful shinny hunt lol. But also it was something that I could share with somebody else, someone important, and make great and lasting memories. This isn't the only story. Hello RPGS and JRPGs giving me the worst hero complex, but I think it's the one that hits home the most. Sorry for the long read. This made me tear up. I'm so happy to hear your sister is cancer free now, and I hope you both love New Horizons. The stock answer is fiscal responsibility thanks to SimCity 2000. Or RPGs like Mario and Luigi. I learned never to spend more than I make, and always try to increase my savings, rather than just keep a static buffer. The more interesting story is thanks to the 4X strategy game Galactic Civilizations. That was my first introduction to the concept of a tech tree with chains of prerequisites. In fall of my sophomore year of college I planned out my spring semester with my advisor prior to registration, and he said everything looked good. But between that meeting and actual registration time, I idly mapped out a tech tree of my course requirements for my intended major and discovered that if I didn't take chemistry next semester, which I hadn't planned before then, I wouldn't be able to take all my required classes in time to graduate in 4 years. So bottom line, strategy games may have saved my college career from potential disaster. Brad/you/Dragonal Wardle of Stardock Games. If you ever read this, thank you so much. Thanks for the kind words. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.